I'm sure you're always looking for ways to make the most of your work and time spent. Indeed, time is limited and our efficiency while working could be in some ways improved. One way of making the most of ourselves is by doing a few investments that will make you skyrocket as a developer and the money you make too. Today I will show you 5 investments that will grow your revenue considerably. We'll start with the best purchase you can possibly do, a high-end keyboard. As developers, we use keyboard literally all the time and we write hundreds or even thousands of lines of code on a daily basis. That's why if we have an expensive keyboard, we can actually take advantage of some features that it may have. Whereas if we have like an ordinary cheap keyboard, we may not have access to these features. So what are the features that actually a high-end keyboard may give you? So the main feature is actually the comfortability that you may get. The switches of a high-end keyboard are much more nicer for when you are pressing them. So of course it makes complete sense that when you're writing a bunch of code, you want to have the best feeling as possible in your fingers. Also increasing your comfortability while you are writing code can also have an impact on how much line of code you can write in some time, meaning that you can write more code, solve more problems, add more features to the project that you are creating and therefore increase your revenue. There are a lot of different types when it comes to keyboard. We could even say that there is a complete world of keyboards you can try out. You can try an ordinary office keyboard that are super cheap, or you can actually try some kind of more expensive keyboard, such as for example a mechanical keyboard. This keyboard can last forever, literally can last for like 2-3 years or even more. As they use switches, the feeling of pressing the keys are super smooth. Also, there are some keyboards that can activate the key with low pressure or high pressure. This means that you will need more pressure to actually activate the key or less pressure to activate it. This all has to do with your own preferences, of course. There isn't like a best keyboard for everybody, but for sure there are some general recommendations, such as for example having a mechanical keyboard instead of an ordinary office keyboard. And then you can try out different switches, for example, that have different sound, also different sound levels and a bunch of other things that you can try out. So my advice here is that if you have the possibility, experiment with different keyboards. Now personally, I used to have a very cheap keyboard. Firstly, it was an office keyboard, an ordinary keyboard. Then I upgraded to a cheap mechanical keyboard. Then after 1 year and a half, something like that, that keyboard started to have some problems, that some keys didn't work. So I ended up buying a complete new keyboard, a mechanical keyboard that is quite expensive. So personally, this is a keyboard that I currently use. It doesn't matter that here says gaming or whatever. So basically here, as you can see, besides being a super pretty keyboard, here it is what I was telling you. You can have different models being 60%, 65, full size, etc. And you can customize the switches. As you can see, there are 3 options. So again, try to experiment with them. Try to watch some video about some sound test or some people that may have the switches of aqua, red, blue, etc. And then buy the one that you think will fit your needs and your comfortability. As developers, we always have a bunch of windows open at the same time, reason why easy multitasking is key. In order to improve our multitasking, the best way to do that is to acquire a dual monitor setup. So usually when we are programming, we have the code editor, we then have some kind of previewer, like for example, if we are doing some web development, we may have our preferred browser. If we are doing game development, well, the game engine. Then we also may have our version control software opened. So organizing everything in just one screen is a little bit complicated. Of course, you can have the windows closed and then open them when you actually need them, but it isn't as efficient as having everything open and just navigate through the windows when you need to use them. So that's why actually having 2 monitors or even more can be a game changer. So again, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my experience. I also started only having 1 monitor, but then soon I realized that having Visual Studio Code, Unity, GitHub Desktop, my browser, etc. open, everything at the same time in just one window was just super unproductive. So I ended up buying a second screen. And yes, indeed, as I expected, it was a complete life changer. So yeah, overall having 2 monitors or even more can really change your experience as a game developer. Not only if you are a game developer or if you are in that exact moment developing games, but also maybe you are watching a video, a movie or whatever in one monitor, and in the other monitor you are doing anything completely different from watching a movie. Or for example, you can have your Spotify open in one monitor, and then in the other monitor you can have the thing with which you are actually working with. So yeah, I also really think that dual monitors can have a complete impact on your earnings. Then tell me what is better than investing in your own education. Of course, you are not gonna be able to make more money if you don't keep up to date. So of course there are a bunch of platforms where you can learn game development, or even if you're an intermediate or advanced developers, there are literally courses for whatever skill level. For example, here you can scroll down a little bit and here you find level. It could be beginner, intermediate or even expert. So yeah, don't think that you should only be taking courses if you are an intermediate or expert developer. Even if you are in those levels, you should still keep learning. So one platform that I recommend you to take some courses is, for example, Udemy. It has probably the most amount of courses that you would ever be able to find. And for example, here some people even uploads their courses that are from YouTube. For example, you may know CodeMonkey, so they even trust in Udemy to upload their courses, or even bigger companies such as GameDevTV. And well, actually talking about GameDevTV, this is other platform that you may use to learn more stuff. And here you can actually find everything about game development. Here in the categories, you can see you can learn things about different game engines, but also about some graphical stuff, such as in Blender. And there are also, for example, things related to video. There are some free courses, and they even offer a marketing course that, well, here it doesn't appear. I don't know why. But well, this was the section that I wanted to show you. That they, for example, they have a section called motivation, and they teach you how to get a job, how to stick to a project and actually finish it and publish it, whatever. So these are topics that aren't actually most times covered in most game development courses. So these are specialized in this stuff. There are, of course, as needed as having good programming skills. For example, here they teach you things related to a resume, a portfolio, your LinkedIn profile, how to create a cover letter or whatever. So yeah, they actually give you a lot of value on these courses. With GameDevTV, I've taken a total of 3 courses, 2 of them related to pixel art. These 2 were completely nice. And then a couple of months ago, I took this course about Unity. And again, I consider myself as an intermediate Unity game developer, and this course, let's say that it was more for a beginner person, but it still was such an incredible experience, because when you learn everything in your own and then you get access to these courses that, as you can see, are super structured, and you have everything that you can rewatch at every time at a specific point, it like clarifies everything and orders everything in your own mind. So that's incredible of these courses. We are always using the PC. It is the tool with which we generate income, so why don't you actually invest on buying a high-performance PC? Programs are always getting heavier and heavier to run. They need more space, they need more graphical capability to be run, more CPU capability, etc. So yeah, if you aren't constantly upgrading your PC, you're literally wasting your money. Because as I've explained throughout this video, time is key and has a direct relation with your income. If you have to wait 5 minutes to open your project and then other 3 minutes to compile, you are wasting your time and therefore money. Whereas if you have a high-end PC, in a matter of just a couple of seconds or 1 minute, you will have everything set up correctly. And actually the truth is that you don't need $3,000 to have a good PC that can run mostly every program. But yes, of course, it is an investment that you have to take if you want to have a speed PC. I also recommend you to work on a desktop PC because these PCs can be upgraded without having to actually sell or stop using completely the device. I mean, if you have a laptop and you want to upgrade your laptop, you can't actually, because you can change its components, whereas if you have a desktop PC, you can literally change component by component. Personally, I started having a pretty basic PC, and then throughout the years, while I was earning some money with my different jobs, I started upgrading it. But of course, if I would have a laptop, I couldn't have been able to do so. So yes, I really encourage you to buy a desktop PC so that you can actually upgrade it throughout the years, and you don't waste your money in a laptop that anything you want to update, you have to completely throw away your device and start from scratch. As a developer, you're always sat in your chair, and trust me, in the long term, if you don't have a good chair, you will suffer from back and neck pain, for instance. As in keyboards, there is a wide range. You can find just office chairs, gaming chairs, etc. As it happens with keyboards, mouses, etc., everything has the label of gamer, okay? And actually there are, gaming chairs are usually so overpriced. They don't mean they are all bad, but there are a lot that they charge you a lot of money and they don't are as good as some others that you may find. That's why most of the times office chairs are the best ones, because they aren't overpriced and they are as comfortable or even more comfortable than gaming chairs. I think that most people don't really understand the importance that having a good chair has, and the impact and the positive impact that actually may have in your life. But it's just common sense. As developers, we are always on our chairs for hours and hours. So of course, being comfortable with that is not gonna only be comfortability, but also health for ourselves. Of course, you're gonna be able to find a wild price ranges. You can find some office chairs that are a couple of bucks, and the same thing will happen with gaming chairs. But you don't actually need the most expensive chair in all the marketplace. You just need one that is comfortable for you, that has good support for both your back and your neck, and you will be okay. It's not rocket science, whereas it is just common sense. Also, chairs usually last for a quite a long time, so it is an investment that you may do once or 2 times in like a decade. So it's real investment that is gonna be worth. And of course, it is an investment that you may not have to update a lot, as your PC that maybe once a year or once every year and a half you may have to update it. Of course, with the chairs you can have the same for a quite long time, and even more if it is a high quality one. So if you are a developer, these are 5 investments you must do. All of them not only will affect possibly your comfortability, but also the results you may get from your work. Leave me in the comments which are the investment you do or would do as a developer, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.